All right, welcome to Xtv. This week we're going to talk about the State of the Union address. Are we at war with Russia? Cuba, is it open for business? Special Hawaii correspondent Warren Ripley will be talking about the Seattle Seahawks and their big victory over some team from Wisconsin. I'm going to be talking about the Patriots and their loving of cheating, and we're going to talk about Joni and her bread bag feet. So, welcome to XTV for this January 22nd special Thursday edition. Woo! So, hey, my name's Adam Vink. This here is Justin Brown. Joining us from Hawaii is Warren Ripley. Say hello, Warren.
Aloha, mainland and
Hell
world.
yeah. All right, so my head being cut off there? It looks like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the top of the screen's cut off for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I just don't have the camera tilted right. It's all good. That's.
No, never mind.
Does it look good now, Warren?
Yeah, you're still cut off a little bit, but
Yeah, whatever. Fuck it. Woo! All right, so we're going to start off this episode like we start off all of our episodes starting from last week with a beer review. Today's beer is Toppling Goliath's Golden Nugget. We're drinking this out of a bomber today. Golden Nugget is their IPA. It's a hoppy brew, and I'm going to get into it right now. This is a very, very popular beer here in the state of Iowa, made in Decorah, Iowa, by the Toppling Goliath Brewing Company. It's on tap when it's on tap. The thing about Toppling Goliath is that they recently decided that they were going to focus on bottle production, and so it hasn't been available on tap in a lot of places. Augusta Restaurant in Oxford, there's a plug, has it right now, yeah. So this is Toppling Goliath Golden Nugget. Oh, all right. So a lot of hops. It's kind of got a soapy mouthfeel, which if you're not used to IPAs, you might not like, but if you are, it's definitely got the taste of a West Coast IPA. It reminds me a lot of a Sierra Nevada product.
It smells like it too.
And yeah, the odor coming off of it is straight Irish Spring. So yeah, let's see what we got here.
sounds delicious.
It is delicious. It's got about I think this has got about 6% alcohol on it. It's not a high flavor or a highfalutin IPA, but a high IPA just the same. All right, from Alaska, Mr. Goldstein is joining us. Welcome to the show, sir.
What up?
Yeah. Topics we're going for. Well, we're going to start with Joni and her bread bag feet. We're going to talk sports a little bit after that. We might do a little Cuba, we might do a little Russia, and we're certainly going to talk about the State of the Union address. Anything you want to add to the list there, Justin?
No, that sounds good.
All right. Anything you want to add, Warren?
Not off the top of my head, but I think of something.
Rock on. All right, so let's start with Joni. I'm not embarrassed of her quite yet, but she's getting there.
She gave a flawless rebuttal.
It was a flawless campaign stump speech.
Zero gaff.
That's all it was. It had nothing to do with
What the president said?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even watch all of it. When she started, it sounded just like one of her campaign speeches.
It was one of her campaigns. It was actually literally her campaign speech. I believe it's what she opened her second debate with Bruce Braley with was those comments about the bread bag shoes and
Did she remove the testicles of any animals
She did
not on the air.
Okay.
We can't be sure that she didn't remove the testicles of an animal.
She talked about her time being a lieutenant colonel in the Army.
Which is funny. I found out just today from one of my classmates that her post was where they did R&R in Iraq. So she talks about being a combat veteran. Ooh, sorry, I'm shaking. Earthquake in Iowa. She was actually running the resort in Iraq for.
Yes, I'm sure it was very resort-like.
That's what the dude said. Dude said that not a bullet was around, man. Her claiming combat is like my dad claiming combat, which he didn't do when he was in Saigon at an Air Force base.
Yeah, but Iraq's not bad. Anyway.
The Tet Offensive happened while he was there. Yeah, Iraq and Vietnam are very similar. But
sort of.
Guerrilla warfare and counterinsurgency, like it's pretty much the same
two
war.
Completely different areas of the world. I'm just saying, like, I don't think the R&R base in Iraq was all that awesome. It might have been cool, but it was fucking hot. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Shitty. You got camel spiders. Fucking.
I'm just going off of what an Iraq War veteran soldier told me.
I'm just saying Iraq's hot. Right.
My sister was there for 3 years. Yeah, my sister was there for 3 years. I'm familiar.
All right.
All right.
Iraq expert.
I am. I am an expert on crack. So Warren grew up in Iowa. Justin grew up in Iowa. This Justin grew up in Iowa. Bread bags. Did you ever do it?
No, I always had shoes.
That's a no from Alaska. No bread bags.
I've never seen a person wear bread bags on their feet.
Yeah, apparently there were rows and rows of Iowa school children with Wonder Bread bags on their feet.
Because they only had one pair of shoes.
Well, and I was going to say maybe in the Great Depression or something, but I mean, Joni Ernst is only what, like 44 or 45?
Yeah, she's not that much older than we are. So, I mean, I remember the pullover galoshes. I mean, you could say that we couldn't afford boots, and I had a pair of pullover galoshes. But it seems.
One of the things
you were wearing a potato sack, right? No?
Bread bags.
What was that, Warren?
You were wearing a potato sack for clothes, though, right?
No, man. Walmart existed when I was a kid, so I just wore Walmart shit all the time. Hand-me-downs. I had 2 pairs of Winner's Choice sneakers, man. At $12 a piece. You could buy like 80 Nikes with that. I'm just saying. So, okay, what would you like to say about her rebuttal of it? You said that we're talking about bread bags. The rest of the world is talking about bread bags. What would you like to talk about?
That's what that's what.
That's what I got out of the speech, and I watched it live.
Oh my God.
I got a stump speech about growing up poor in Iowa,
yeah.
And it seemed like that she didn't know what she was talking about because I grew up poor in Iowa. Just saying. It seems a little disingenuous. And but no, as far as a rebuttal to this State of the Union, it wasn't that.
I don't have anything to say about it. I have yet to watch either
one of them.
Yeah. I just think Joni Ernst is a fine representative of the Western half.
I was really hoping she was going to turn on the crazy
and she definitely wanted
to an actual insane rebuttal.
Instill a sense of.
The Army Airfield is doing helicopter exercises right now, so it might get loud here.
I believe that Warren and Justin are trying to talk at the same time, which is a formula for disaster here. So what Justin was saying was...
All I've been getting at is that the entire purpose of her speech was just to reject the idea that the Republican landslide victory that happened recently was going to bring back a sense of common sense and down-to-earth middle American values. And that was why she was going on about her fucking bread bag feet and growing up and cutting nuts off hogs and shit like that. Like, it's all part of a program package deal. You know, she's like Sarah Palin, except not completely fucktarded.
The thing is that it's really difficult to be a populist when you espouse none of the values. You don't. You say you're like everybody else, and you say that you're a person of the people, but then you vote against that. That's
no. You're just talking about people who. You're talking about 2 different forms of populism. Populism isn't just like one thing. She's speaking to all the people who have jobs, that pay taxes, that
So almost everybody.
blah, 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 and the Democrats pander to everyone else, people who don't pay any taxes, people who live off the government. Yeah, no, that's it. Like,
so you're saying that
free
the
shit.
Democrats are trying to win elections by giving away free shit,
Yes.
even though unemployment's at 5.6% at this point. Apparently, we're getting more than 5.6% of the vote. So I guess, I mean, like.
Yeah, they didn't win all the seats they wanted to.
But yes, but they actually received more votes in congressional elections than the Republicans did.
Justin Clark.
What's up?
Chime in is what he's trying to say. Save him.
No, don't save me. I just want to hear what you have to say.
I pretty much agree with that. I think
The Democrats pandered to a group of people who don't pay taxes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Democrats. It's the Democrat Party is like, it's a patronage system. You know, vote for us and we'll give you stuff. A lot of their stuff is good. You know, Social Security is a good idea. Medicare and Medicaid are good ideas. But that's basically what it is. They're the party of the poor. You know, but I think you just have to ask yourself, what is everything? Is the party of dependency really helping those people, or is it just keeping them in place? You know, and you could say the Republicans are the party of the rich, but I don't know. I think it just depends on how you frame it. I think there are different kinds of populism, and I didn't really watch the State of the Union or her rebuttal, but I kind of just took it as them introducing her, because like the Republicans have a problem with younger single women. Like older married women are about 50-50 Republican Democrat, but younger single women are like overwhelmingly 70-30 Democrat.
I just don't see how Joni Ernst is the way to do that. She supports restrictive abortion, and you know,
well,
like
half of women support that too, though.
No, not half.
Oh yeah.
Not restrictive.
Yeah, like the thing about abortion is, like, to save the life of the mother or rape and incest, women will go 80-20 in favor of it. But if you ask them would they ever get an abortion, it's like 35-65 the other way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so abortion is a mixed bag.
Well, I think everybody agrees that abortion is abhorrent and that it should be done like as a last resort. I think that is something that is agreed on. And I don't think anybody goes around saying abortion's for everybody. But at the same time, if you want one, there's people out there who say, I don't support your right to have that, and that is to me as much of a civil rights issue as anything.
Just a comment I want to add about abortion, though, and this is something that really fucking bothers me, is how many conversations you know, we all probably looked on different forums or seen different threads like on Facebook and discussions, and I've seen people who claim to be liberal and blah 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 and, you know, bleeding hearts, but then they reduce a, you know, potentially viable human down to a parasite or something that makes the idea of abortion acceptable. It's like mental gymnastics. Like, just say it's a fucking person and get over with it. Just say you want to be able to not be pregnant. Don't paint it up to be something that it's not. You know, there's a lot of different reasons people get abortion. You know, I personally don't think it should be illegal, but, you know, fuck. With the right amount of planning, in most cases, it's not going to even be an issue. So, like, why are people arguing it like, well, it's not even it's a conceptual human. It's not even really a person. You know, it fucking has a heartbeat and a brain at, like, what, like 8, but not that long. It might be even sooner than that. So it's like, I don't know. Women want to have control over their own bodies. That's fine. But I mean, with that.
And their lives. It's not just their bodies, but it's their lives.
Well, yeah, but if you don't want to get pregnant and you're going to engage in an activity that's going to get you fucking pregnant, have some forethought, you know?
Yeah, it's easy to blame.
I'm not blaming anyone. I'm saying if you're a couple, a man and a woman, and you're going to have sex, you automatically should know that one of the potential outcomes of that act is a pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are things out there, like if you have a condom break, you can go get something.
Oh, well, you can now. But you put the crazies in charge and you won't be able to. And a lot of those same people out there who want to restrict Plan B or want to restrict abortion are the same people who want to restrict contraception. It's the same people. It's a moral argument.
Yeah,
and you can't have a legal system that's made of moral arguments.
They're never going to make abortion illegal, okay? They're not going to overturn.
But
lock the wrong people.
Yeah, okay.
But the pro-abortion people are making a supposedly a moral argument, though, too. And if it is a moral argument, then there can be no actual right answer.
Well, I just think it should be a legal argument, and a woman should have the right to decide if she wants to carry out a pregnancy or not.
But it is a moral argument, though, and that's why it'll always just be an opinion.
Right. Wow. Well, we've wasted quite a bit of this show on a topic that will never get resolved. So
it's fine. Nobody's watching. Nobody gives a fuck.
They might watch later.
So yeah, what's next?
Warren, would you like to talk about the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, sure. So
talk about those guys. What happened in the game?
It really sucked for the whole first half.
Or was awesome.
Seahawks were down. I thought they were going to lose for sure.
So did I. I was making Super Bowl plans.
And then third quarter, more of the same.
Then you faked a punt, and everything changed.
No, we faked a field goal.
Oh, that's what it was, a field goal. Yeah, you faked a field goal, and everything changed.
Field goal, and our ball holder threw an easy touchdown.
That's a punter. First time a punter has thrown a touchdown pass in a playoff game.
The punter's not the one who threw it. It was the guy holding the ball.
Yeah, that's the punter, dude.
Oh, was the punter?
Yeah, NFL, the punter is usually the holder in today's NFL. It used to always be the backup quarterback, but now it's always the punter because special teams dynamics, you always have the punters and kickers and long snappers work together all the time while they're at practice.
Right.
Only thing they do, it's a very specialized thing. But the punter...
In the broadcast, he was referred to as the holder, so that's why I thought that.
Yeah. Let's see.
But anyway, then last 5 minutes or so, everything went my way.
The Seahawks had a 12-point lead, or the Packers had a 12-point lead in 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then gave up a touchdown. And let's not forget that 3rd down and 29 that you guys converted because we put a prevent defense in.
Yes.
And then scored a touchdown on that drive, got an onside kick, scored again,
which was awesome.
Took a 3-point lead with a 2-point. No business ever completed. I can't believe I'm reliving this whole thing, but I am. And then overtime, because the pros believe that the flip of a coin should determine who goes to the Super Bowl. And let's face it, that's what that was. You still had to score the touchdown, but it was the flip of a coin. Whoever was going to win that coin toss was going to win that game.
Yep.
I hate the NFL for that one reason.
Well, it happened,
and
I'm rubbing it in the face of all the people who have been telling me for the last 2 months that the Seahawks aren't going to go anywhere, and last year was a fluke, and I'm just glad the Broncos were finally out, so I didn't have to listen to this whole Peyton Manning is so great stuff. And
well, it probably wouldn't have happened if he would have played the Seahawks. Like, it would have been like, can Peyton Manning rebound? Can he beat the Seahawks? But it'd still be about Peyton Manning, you're right.
Well, it's amazing some of the arguments I've gotten into with Green Bay Packer fans because
Bastards.
they're hauling out the whole thing where they're like, well, the Seahawks didn't beat us, we beat ourselves, and it's like, oh, give it a rest, So
no, that's bullshit.
The only team that can beat the Packers is the Packers. Give me a break.
Yeah, to go on your point there, Warren, if you remember when I was really angry and talking to you that day, I didn't really pull that shit. What I pulled was, fuck you, and I hate the Seahawks, and I hope they move to Oklahoma City, or Mount Rainier blows up.
Yeah, you said you hope Mount Rainier rained fiery death all over Seattle.
Goddamn right. So to be fair, I'm not one of those whining Green Bay fans. So you guys won fair and square.
And yeah, I'm excited to play those dirty cheating Patriots. So
yeah, that brings us up to the dirty cheating Patriots. And
they did cheat.
Oh my God, did they ever? Deflated footballs. Of course, Tom Brady went on the air today saying that he had no idea.
Impossible.
How could they be deflated? I didn't know this.
He is the person who would know.
Is the only person, him and the ball boy would be the only people who would know that the pressure was changed on the footballs.
Yep.
And Aaron Rodgers complained right after this whole thing started. He was like, yeah, I'm pissed when the refs take air out of the footballs. Because the air on the footballs is a minimum thing. You have to have a minimum air pressure. I'm not sure if there is a maximum air pressure on them. And so he likes a nice, hard football because, he's 6'4" and has gigantic hands. So he's all about the hard football. But some puny-ass hand freak like Tom Brady, let's say, would actually benefit from a smaller football. So there you go. And let me go ahead and say that I thought the Iowa Hawkeyes were going to have a great basketball season. They're going to have a mediocre one because if you lose 32 to Wisconsin, I don't care if it's in Wisconsin or not, losing by 32 is unexcusable for a tournament team. And baseball is only 6 weeks away.
Yay.
God. Yeah. Well, till spring training, but that's good enough for me, and I'm in. So
they love baseball in Hawaii, so I can actually see a lot of the games. So it's nice.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking spectacular.
Like 20% of the population is Japanese. You know how they like their baseball.
Like sushi, man.
Yep. Sushi and baseball.
Sushi and baseball. All right, so that wraps up sports.
All right.
All right.
Just a little sports, as promised.
Just a little tiny bit. Next up, right after, during the State of the Union address, Obama talked about it. Right afterwards, the Assistant Secretary of State went down to Havana to go meet with Cuban officials. There was a delegation from the U.S. Congress who went down to Cuba earlier in the month, and they were actually shunned by Raul Castro because they refused to not meet with opposition groups. The entire time, Cuba is throwing caveats out about the opening up of relations, saying that we'll never stop being a communist state, we'll never stop being a one-party state, and they actually invited the Russians to send a warship. It was, and it's funny, but they did. They sent. Russians have a warship in Havana Harbor right now, and the American delegation actually asked if they could go on board, and it's a Russian spy ship, and of course the Russians are like, no, you can't, and thinking that like it would be like some sort of intimidation. But anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is that with Congress being anti-Cuba and lifting the embargo, as it seems that they are at this moment, is this going to get off the ground, or are we just blowing smoke at this thing? I mean, are we just going to exchange ambassadors, and that's going to be it, and it's not going to be any different? What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's different because the relations have been opened up. It's at least one step, Typically, things move incrementally. Nothing's ever going to happen all at once. agreements on any issue. It'll always be in small little pieces, you know. So this is one step. It is different now because of that. But you know, one party rule is one party rule. You know, there's only one party governing the apparatus, and it is what it is. It's a totalitarian state of sorts. So it's only going to be able to go so far.
Right. The Russians have, or not the Russians. The Cuban Communist Party does have a mechanism in place that makes it a little bit more grassroots than your typical Communist Party, and they have every 5 years or so they have a Communist Party convention. It takes place originally at the local level, and if you can envision it, it's kind of like an Iowa caucus, where you actually choose your representatives for the Communist Party for your. It really is. You're laughing, but it is. So they choose their area representatives of the Communist Party, and then they send them to a regional convention, and then they send it to a national convention like that. So there is a grassroots mechanism. With the dissidents being allowed to be, they're out of jail, and things like that. I mean, do you think that there's a possibility for actual political discourse in Cuba, or is it just a dream? I mean, because that's the same sort of mechanisms that took place in Poland when in the early 80s and then in 1988 with the Solidarity movement. They had a labor union on their side, but it was the same idea. It was this grassroots movement to reform the government from the inside. Is there hope there?
I think so, and I was reading recently about how there's been a sharp increase in the number of Cubans that are able to get their hands on smartphones. So even if they don't have other technology of any kind, like they're starting to get a lot more internet access. I mean, it is restricted internet access, but I mean it's not nearly as restricted as it is in a lot of totalitarian regime type countries. So yeah, I think we're on our way. I mean, it's going to be a long time, small incremental change, but I think the ball's rolling pretty hard right now. So
we have to really see why this is happening. This is really nothing to do with the Obama administration. This has everything to do with the price of oil plummeting, and Venezuela was propping up the energy sector in Cuba, plus giving them other subsidies. And Russia was giving them subsidies that they're not going to be able to afford anymore. You know, I don't know what they expect out of us. Do they expect us to subsidize them, or do they just want us to come and spend our money?
Both.
I think
kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
What's that? Go ahead.
Yeah, Justin, you said it's about the same thing. Is that right?
Yeah, you know, I think they'll probably take our money if they can get it. I mean, I don't really think that they have any interest in I think they want to retain control, and I mean, they may let the people choose their representatives, but as long as they're all on the same party, it's not really going to make a difference. They're going to take what they can get from who they can get it from, you know. Yeah. I don't really the whole geopolitical thing is basically just going after your own country's interests and just seeing what you can get, you know what I mean? It's like trying to stay safe, but it's also just kind of trying to get what you can. I mean, you know, I don't know. I think it's in the Russian and Venezuelan interest to have a stake in Cuba because Cuba's a thorn in our side. But if we can sort of get some control within Cuba, then it's going to diminish Russian and Venezuelan influence, but it's really just all about money. you know, and money and resources, but it's also just about just geopolitics, which kind of doesn't mean anything really. It's just about power, just back and forth.
I want to add something to that too. Is like I think the big fear there, at least with the ruling class, is that if they introduce capitalism too quickly, they'll destabilize their sort of stranglehold on the affairs of their own country. You know, like I think a lot of American companies probably want to go there and set up shop just purely for profit purposes, but I think the side effect of us bringing our goods there and selling them is that you'll see a sort of increase in the standard of living of the people living there, and the exposure to them of outside ideas that the ruling class cannot control, essentially, you know, planting seeds that maybe 20 or 30 or 40 years from now might lead to the dissolution of whatever, you know, communist party is ruling the country. You know, I'm no expert on Cuba, but the idea of economic warfare is a more viable thing in the present day. You know, people don't want to fight World War IIs over and over again. You know, but if you can hit your opponent in the pocketbook, you can institute a lot of different changes in those countries. Purely, you know, I don't know, just through influence, I guess.
One thing I do want to stress, though, is that Cuba has been flirting with capitalism, free market capitalism, for 23 years now, since the special period started, which is when the Soviet Union was unable to subsidize the Cuban economy anymore. At that point, they had to do things like legalize the dollar and create a tourism industry, so they would have dollars to spend to purchase the things that they need, because their island economy can't take care of all their needs, especially the promised needs of the Communist Party in Cuba. And so, like, we could talk about American influence all we want and capitalistic influence all we want, but they've had a 23-year experiment now, 24 years, where they have had this restrictive. I say free market, okay, but maybe not, but like you do it outside of the purview of the Cuban government, and the Cuban government was approving because it was bringing in tourist dollars. And then we talk about the American companies wanting to go and invest. European companies have been going in and investing for 24 years, and it hasn't done jack shit.
Well, yeah, because every single one of those situations is an approved, you know, like I was just saying, everything that occurs capitalistically in Cuba funnels directly back to...
It's approved by a guy named Castro.
Yeah, it's funneling back into the pockets of the ruling class. It's not funneling downward to the actual people, you know.
I would say actually in Cuba that you don't have a lot of the problems that most communist societies do have with there being a rich ruling elite. They do have certain privileges, but nobody in Cuba is rolling in money. All that money left and has been gone for 60 years. So
everybody's poor.
Pretty much. I mean, being part of the Communist Party has its benefits. You're going to get the best house and the best food, but you're still only obligated. The government is still only giving you a house and food, which is what they do for everybody. And that's the beautiful thing about Cuba too, is that it's an actual experiment in how socialism was supposed to originally work.
The wolf starves together.
Right. The problem is that you had the United States 90 miles away, and a paranoid person, rightfully so, in Castro, running the country and knowing he couldn't trust anybody, and that's why it became such a police state and why it's not the beautiful utopia that it should have been. I say it's the U.S. and our ability to undermine Castro that created that. He doesn't agree. That's okay.
Why don't you just fucking move there, man?
I might.
Jesus.
Love it.
Get your fucking red shirt and go down there and
I'm telling you, man. Like, it wasn't a...
pose a nude for
Why don't
Raul or something.
why don't the communists just make it better?
Yeah, there you go.
There's a lack of
Why don't they-
capital. I mean...
Oh,
Capital.
they need capitalists?
No, it's just like... okay, I shouldn't have said capital. It's a lack of wealth, which means the same thing. But, like...
Oh.
When they were seizing, which they were doing, they were seizing the property of everybody. A lot of what they were counting on moved here to the United States. And I'm not saying that it would have worked at all. I'm just saying is that it didn't work specifically because we were undermining it.
Among other things.
Well, why would they need us in anyway, though? Like, why don't they just produce what they need and have it work out?
Because it's an island country. Like, they lack multiple types of resource.
Yeah, they have the same problem as any other island-based place. Like,
and they've been isolated and blockaded. And when they were doing well because they were in the Soviet bloc, and they were able to keep things going. But they overpromised to their people.
And when you're on an island, like when imports drop off, I mean, you can only sustain a large population for so long.
Right. And yeah.
On Oahu, if imports stopped, we would run out of food in 4 days.
So there you go.
That's
the Cuban
That's because you've exceeded the carrying capacity of the island because of capitalism.
Yep, exactly. That's 100% true. Yep.
What did you say? I couldn't hear it.
Like, if it was just like a straight-up agrarian society, there would only be as many people as the island could naturally carry, so you wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah, that's true. There'd be a lot of starvation. That goes for the rest of the world too, man.
That's the whole world. Like, if it wasn't for industrialization, there would only be as many people as it could carry, and it would be okay. But instead, there's like way too many fucking people.
Yeah, we've created way too many people. So, oh well. Okay, let's get off of Cuba. That was fun for a little while. Are we at war with Russia?
No.
Jasmine says
We're
no.
at war with everybody.
Okay, the reason why I brought this up...
How do you define war in this case?
Okay, the reason why I brought this up is because I read an article from Reuters. I believe it was Reuters. It might have been it was The Guardian UK. And it was an article about America having basically a secret war on Vladimir Putin. And this guy... You know how the propaganda is right now. And I say it's propaganda because that's the way this guy presented it. But right now the propaganda is that that there are Russian tanks, anti-aircraft batteries, and heavy equipment in eastern Ukraine.
They killed some people.
But have you seen a satellite photo? Have you seen a video of these tanks? Has there been any proof in the Western media? And this guy says no. And he says it's because it doesn't exist. That we're actually are wrong. Our news media is reporting a Russian incursion in eastern Ukraine, and the argument is that there's actually an insurgency going on in eastern Ukraine. And yes, the Russians are given some materiel to those separatists, but they're not this heavy machinery that's got the West all up in arms about it.
If there were U.S. satellite photos of it, we wouldn't see them. They wouldn't be released to the media. So, I mean, it's...
But we did, and they were faked, with Saddam Hussein running tanks on the borders with Iraq and Saudi Arabia. They were fake.
That's true, but...
But we had them. I don't know. I mean, obviously we don't want a hot war with Russia, or do we?
No, man,
we sure
that's
don't.
like
That would
World
be
War territory. They're fucking. It's kind of like a Cold War tactic all over again. We're gonna bleed them out slowly.
So we're using Eastern Ukraine as a proxy to get them to spend money and brace on their border.
No, not to get them to spend their money, but I mean, we were talking about this last time. You know, like the drops in oil prices, how the Russian ruble is falling in value, yada yada yada. Like, we're gonna attack them in every way that we can, and that isn't directly like a combat operation. You know, like, you know, we're gonna come out in support of fucking Crimea, even though you know, that didn't really work out. You know, when they invaded the South, how do you pronounce that?
South Ossetia.
Ossetia, yeah.
In
You know,
Georgia.
we were against that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think we're just gonna try to hinder them as much as possible, and that will probably be the extent of our antagonism toward them. And fuck Russia, man. At least their government, that's like one of the most corrupt governments on the planet, beside our own, I think.
Oh, I'd say that they're much worse than we are.
Oh, yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of world powers, there's like them, they're probably, you know, and as opposed to democracy, they're probably, they're obviously way more corrupt than we are, like, by miles.
Right.
And, but it's like them and then us. Like,
yeah. This is the way. There's two major things if you want to be elite in Russia, how to do it. You either become a part of the government or you become part of the petrochemical business scene. And so the thing about it is that when you get into one, you automatically get into the other. So basically you become a high-ranking Russian official. You also become a board member at Gazprom.
Yeah, the same entity. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're an executive at, you know, Rosneft, like, you become you're in line to become Minister of Defense. Like, that's how, well, bad example, but because they've pretty much had the same one, Lavrov, for forever, but. That's the idea, though, is the government patronage system and oil companies. Actually, that's exactly what we do here. Never mind.
Yeah, if you're an executive in a field here, I mean, a lot of people who get appointed to positions in our government were in the private sector in the same field before they got appointed or whatever. So.
Yeah. Well, the thing is if you're a Democrat and you're a high-ranking official, you worked at Goldman Sachs. If you're a high-ranking official in a Republican government, you worked at ExxonMobil. There's a difference in the party system here in the United States of America. Well, that's got depressing in a hurry.
Justin Clark?
Yeah, that's about the Russian power structure is pretty much left over from the Soviet era. I think it's in both of our interests to antagonize each other. I'm watching The Americans on Amazon Prime right now. I just got done with season 1. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's a
if you
great
guys
show.
haven't seen it, you should.
I just finished season 2.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, I want to watch it just because it's got that hot-ass doctor from House in it.
Carrie Russell is really hot.
God, she's hot.
Well, and it's a great show, just the way they take, you know, the actual history of what was going on in the early. It takes place in first season is 1980, 81, something like that. But yeah, the way they incorporate the historical events into what happens with these illegal, whatever the designation they have is. Like, it's a great show. It's a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. It's in my Netflix list that I don't have.
On Amazon Prime.
I don't have either.
Amazon Prime is worth the money, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
They get a lot of good shows on there.
It is worth the money. I accidentally I signed up for a month and I forgot about it, and then like 2 months later, I'm like, what the fuck, $99 Amazon? But then I realized that there's a lot on there. I mean, first of all, it's like free cloud storage, but then it's sort of like a Pandora and a Netflix, and you get all these like free Kindle books and shit, and it's for what is basically $9 a month. It's a good deal.
Shipping.
Well, and the shipping, like here in Hawaii, I order a lot of stuff from Amazon.
Yeah.
Here, it paid for itself in 2 months. Easy.
Wow. There you go. Let's get with the times. Of course, I am running a live internet television show, so I'm kind of with the times.
Oh, you're gonna be rich.
Oh yeah. Once the thing catches on, it's fucking money in the bank. No, okay, let's put it this way. What's better than a bunch of dudes who are from Iowa sitting around talking about the issues? I don't know. We get to choose the president. I don't know.
It'd be cool if there were some women on the show.
I still get a vote in Iowa too, supposedly.
Supposedly. You can't caucus, though.
Didn't get to last time, but no, I can't caucus, but at least I'm still an Iowa resident, and I can still vote in elections in Iowa, and Johnson County specifically. So that's pretty awesome. Military has its benefits.
I'm kind of pissed that they didn't get your ballot out in time, though. That has pissed me off.
Yeah. If Joni Ernst would have won by like one vote, I would have been really upset.
Yeah.
What do you need?
But thankfully,
food?
she won by like 50,000.
Yeah, I know. Because Iowans apparently don't know what they're doing.
What do you need? More food.
Doggy.
Okay, well, we got 14 minutes left in the show. We should talk about the big event that happened on Tuesday, the State of the Union address.
I didn't watch it. I just read a synopsis.
Started. You didn't watch it?
No, I just read a synopsis. I was busy doing other stuff at the time.
I actually did watch it, but I was flipping back and forth between it and the Iowa game. But Iowa was down like by 24 in the first half, so I watched most of it.
Can you take like 3 minutes and give me the meat of it?
Yeah, okay, that works. So he did a lap around the economy. So basically said he praised. Well, he did it within the framework of a young couple that got married right when he was taking office. Just like right around 7 years ago, they got married. He was working in construction. She was working as a waitress. The recession happened. He lost his job, and so she went to community college, got her associate's degree, and then went out into the workplace, became the breadwinner, and then they have now bought a house and are raising a family, and so what he is trying to do is frame that as America's story. This is how it went down. We got a lot of young people who were working kind of bullshit dead-end jobs. The recession happened. This particular chick went to community college on Pell Grant and also helped work her way through, and then they were able to. She was able to get a better job, and then obviously do all these things. And this is like a metaphor for how how we're doing as a country. And then from there, what's that?
Those are annoying though. He just like cherry picked a human interest story. That's the same thing they do on like the nightly local news.
Yeah, true, but he only did it this one time. Whereas if you listen to a George Bush story or State of the Union, there'd be like 4 different people and frame the whole argument on it. That's okay.
That's true.
This is something they all do in State of the Union addresses. You put somebody in the box next to the First Lady, and then you talk about how they did their thing. Anyway, regardless of how annoying that is, then he launched into helping a middle class ease. So it's like, well, the economy is doing better, but we're not really feeling it. So what do we do? So he proposed his tax increase on capital gains from a 15% rate to a 28% rate. and then said he would use that for the community college credit program that he wants to put through, working with the states to do that, and then also give a $3,000 per child tax credit to working families. So having children would grant you some extra money, and then also extending the earned income tax credit to people without children and who are working low-wage jobs, who are having trouble getting by, extending the earned income tax credits to those people under a certain thing, and using the tax hike in capital gains to pay for all of that, which of course is class warfare. And so, but anyway, he's doing that, and then he like basically did a list of proposals after that were kind of in the same vein. He talked about, and at the end, he talked about how in 2004 he gave that speech where he's like, "There's not a red America or a blue America. There's not a black America or a white America. There's the United States of America." And he goes, "I don't have any more elections left to run." And he got a big round of applause from Republicans. And then he goes, "Because I won them both," and which was like, and then he yeah, he basically said, "We've got 2 years. We have a divided government. Work with me where you can. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not going to agree with you. But why don't we find common ground where we can and do the nation's business together?" There's your synopsis.
Okay.
So, yeah, a lot of hope. You know, obviously his policies are. I hope that he's just doing the whole bargaining position where it's like, you know, like Warren, when you sold me Megan's car, if you would have said, "I want $20,000 for it," and I've been like, "I'll give you $500," you know, like I hope it's one of those where he doesn't really expect this stuff to pass, but expects to get a bargaining position out of it.
Yeah, I wish you would have given me 20 grand for that thing. But
Wish I had 20,000 to give away.
no, you got a fair price. So
Got a hell of a deal is what I got. Whoa, hell of a deal is what I got.
So Obama's just looking for a fair price on his Honda.
Yeah, I guess he's looking to get 2 years where the government's just not going to shut down. I think is really what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was a great speech because I'm a partisan and I'm a liberal, and he gave me a lot of red meat to go on. And
Told you exactly what you wanted to hear.
he did. He finally fucking manned up, gave the huevos.
It sounds like he's going to cut taxes.
On some. He's going to raise them on others.
Capital gains, doubling the capital gains tax.
Yeah, what harm is that going to do is the question.
Discourage investment.
And encourage it elsewhere, though. It's going to discourage.
Where's elsewhere?
Well, you can invest in your own business rather than in the stock market. Instead of getting dividends, you could be actually expanding your plant.
That's where everyone's for. So when a retired couple cashes in their IRA, they're going to pay 30% instead of 15%.
True.
That would be yeah.
Yeah.
That's where everyone's retirement pension is. Overall, though, like if you're going to make a compromise, I would rather have like the top 10% pay more, and then like kick it down to the middle in tax cuts. Like that kind of seems reasonable to me. Like everything that you just said about the economics of the speech. Like I didn't listen to the speech. Everything you just said sounded fairly like just moderate. Like he is just trying to get stuff passed. If you're going to do it, like raising taxes on the wealthy and then cutting taxes on the middle is decent, but I don't know if like raising taxes on investment is really going to be the way to go, especially when most middle class people either have their pensions with a state, which is then invested in a stock market like Alaska, or just have like their whole entire 401k in the stock market too.
Yeah, I'm thinking that there's a shelter somewhere amongst IRAs and 401ks where they don't pay the true capital gains rate. But I don't have the expertise on that. I wanted to say that right away, but I just don't have any way of proving it without doing some deep digging. Deep digging, that's right. Yeah, no, Justin, that was really good though. That was good food for thought for why the capital gains increase would be a bad thing, to penalize people who are thinking they're going to get one tax rate and take twice as much. That would be bad.
And what's funny about that is those people have already been taxed on that money. Like, they earned $1, they had 30% of it, they had 30 cents of it taken out of their paycheck. They take part of the 70 cents left over, invested in the stock market, and then the gains on that investment, an additional 30% are taken out of.
Yeah, but you can make that excuse for any tax. Like, you could say that about excise taxes and gasoline.
Exactly. You're already getting taxed once, and then they're just taxing you on top of taxing you on top of taxing you.
Right, but we have to have a mechanism to pay for the things that everything's earmarked to be paid for. So it's just like, I'm not against double taxing people, I guess. I don't mind it. I guess it's because it's easy for me in the lowest tax bracket.
Yeah,
what if you just keep all the money that you earned?
The big swath of middle America, the people, for example, my wife and I have retirement plans. A vast majority of the people who reside in Johnson County are young working couples who have either state, like IPERS or TIA, correct? And
they're not being taxed on that income, by the way. If you put your money into a retirement account, that money that comes out of your paycheck is not taxed. That is true. That money has not been taxed. So there's that.
I guess I won't make that point.
Yeah, that's the case with our retirement. So.
Yeah, no. Any retirement fund, it's a tax-deferred fund. That's the argument I needed to come up with. It is like IRAs, all of them are tax deferment strategies. You do not pay taxes on it because you are investing in yourself later, and you'll pay taxes at a later point.
And you'll be a consumer after you stop working and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah. All right. Blah 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 blah. So we got 3 minutes left. Anybody got anything to close with? I think we should have Warren's cat and Justin's dog fight on the air.
Yes. Cat's sleeping.
What's new?
Yeah, he doesn't really fight.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Funny.
They're lovers, not killers. Well, my cat kills a lot of house geckos, but.
You guys get house geckos, huh?
Yeah, that's the primary pest around here is the common house gecko.
Yeah.
And as pests go, they're not bad. They just hang out on the wall until the cat knocks them down and eats them. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Food source.
They don't eat that shit. They just kill it.
Do the geckos get eaten, Warren?
Oh yes. Oh yes. They do get eaten.
Like they eat the whole fucking thing?
Whole thing.
Whoa.
Goes in her mouth, she swallows it, and then she goes looking for another one.
Fucking rock
I
on.
wonder what kind of diseases those geckos have.
I don't think they have anything that's transferable to cats. Cats around here are pretty hardy, and she's a Hawaii cat. She's been a Hawaii cat her whole life, so
Yeah.
I'm sure she has a healthy resistance.
I think she's back there sleeping off some gecko rabies.
Yes, gecko rabies.
It's the only remedy.
the only cure for gecko rabies is sleep.
Yeah, 23.5 hours of sleep. Absolutely. A day.
And she goes and kills another one, reinfects herself.
That's why cats are lazy. They're infected with gecko germs.
Oh, my cat's not. My cat keeps. She's pest control. She earns her keep. That's
Fuck
a
yeah.
lot more than I can say for other cats I've had.
It's like a barn cat, except not in a place where there's barns.
Except in an open air Hawaii apartment. So yeah.
Fucking A. All right, that's 1 hour, guys. So I'm going to say sayonara. Actually, if you guys wanted to hang on the air and talk for a little bit longer, we can. I'm going to end the YouTube portion of the video so people can watch it, which maybe 20 will. I'm going to go ahead and put the title screen on, and goodbye, XTV.
Thank you for watching Xtv. Hit the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. We appreciate it.
Like it, share it, post it on your wall, do something cool today.